Campground Wi-Fi pretty much sucks, or at least that's the perception. We're here on Memorial Day weekend in a very busy campground, and we have great Wi-Fi signal right now, and we want to show you how we did it. So there's really two main setup components. There's the infrastructure that the campground has established and set up, and there's the infrastructure that you set up in your RV to connect to the campground Wi-Fi. There are two distinct setups, and only one of them you can control and do anything about. So we're obviously going to focus on that one today. What we're finding as we're traveling throughout the country is a lot of campgrounds have actually upgraded their wireless, and they're pretty decent systems. Most of the people are still complaining that they can't get access, and we're going to talk about why that is. Okay, so RVs and trailer campers are made of all sorts of materials. You've got wood, you've got fiberglass, you've got metal, you've got framing, you've got all sorts of stuff, and pretty much all of that is going to make Wi-Fi not work very well. To top that off, in a laptop like this one, you have what's called an omnidirectional wireless antenna. What that means is it is designed to pick up wireless in all different directions, not in a pinpointed direction. Now, the way your campground works is it's broadcasting typically from one or two different directions, maybe three if it's a large park. So an antenna like this combined with an RV that you're sitting inside of is not going to work very well, and it's going to cause the Wi-Fi to feel like it's really not working very well. Okay, so how are we going to solve for that problem? All right, we're going to use a directional antenna, not an omnidirectional antenna. And a directional antenna, it looks like that. All right, so before we get too much into the antenna setup itself, you have to find out where the source of the Wi-Fi is coming from. In this case, it's coming from the building right behind you, which is the bathhouse. What you can do is use an app on a smartphone. This is called the Wi-Fi Analyzer, and you can walk the campground and it will get louder as you get closer to the Wi-Fi signal, as you can hear right there. We'll send you a link for that app in the video as well, right up here. Okay, so once you know the location of that antenna, you're going to point your directional antenna at it. So let's show you what our antenna setup looks like so you can set it up yourself. Alright, so here's our antenna setup. This is a relatively inexpensive directional antenna made by TP-Link, which you can pick up on Amazon. We'll have that in our Amazon store, and also the links we'll put up here. What we did here is we used a RAM mount system. RAM mounts are typically used for mounting cell phones and CB radios and things inside of the cabin. We actually found them really good for mounting directional antennas. The reason being is you can actually very quickly move them up and down for when you travel. So for us, what we do is move this little guy down like that, if you can see that, and tighten it up, and we're ready to travel. Just those 2 seconds, just like that. When we get to a campground park, we simply pick that up, check for it to be level, tighten this guy up, point her at our wireless antenna, which is over there at this campground, and tighten that up, and we're good to go. This little 8-inch bar here is made out of fiberglass. It moves a little bit, but we find that that's actually better. It'll keep it from breaking if you have high winds. Okay, so now that you've seen our antenna, that antenna obviously has to plug in somewhere. This Integra Coach came pre-wired with 4 RG6 cables, and we only use one of them for our satellite TV system. So we repurposed 2 of them for our various antennas. The one antenna which we're talking about today, which is our wireless antenna, we use one of those cables for. So as you can see here, we've got 2, a white and a black cable, going down to our wireless antenna at the end there. If you don't have a pre-wired RG6 setup in your RV, anybody who installs these types of dishes or works on the roofs of RVs doing electrical work, TV antennas, or Winegard authorized installers will be able to install an RG6 cable for you. Now, if you're just looking for a single laptop setup, you're pretty much done. All you're going to need to do is to connect that antenna wire that we ran or that we repurposed in your RV to your laptop. A lot of laptops, actually most all laptops, don't have a place for you to connect an external antenna. Like this MacBook, there's nothing here that would allow you to do that. That's okay, there is a way around that. You can get a USB wireless adapter that will accept an external antenna, and we'll put some links there as well as at the bottom of the video. But if you're like us and you're looking for a solution that's going to act a lot more like a residential setup, where you have your own wireless inside of your RV and your printers and all of your laptops and your phones and everything act as if you have a wired internet connection, then you're going to have to follow the next steps. In the Integra coach, we loved the way the coach looked, so we wanted to keep everything nice and clean. So we mounted all of our computer guts and stuff actually behind the television. So we're going to take the TV down and show you exactly what that looks like. All right, so the TV is down, and this is pretty much where all the magic happens for us. Now, before we get started, if this looks somewhat overwhelming or a bit stressful, you don't have to go through this much trouble to make this all hidden the way we did. You could easily use the parts described and simply run a antenna cable out to a little tripod and put it in the yard, like you see some people putting their satellite dishes, with a directional antenna, and just point it and you'd be good to go. But we're going to show you sort of the way we did it, and you can decide for yourself what's best for you. Okay, so the PepWave right here is really the brains of our internet setup. It's very similar to what you would use in a residence, like a Linksys router for $59 that you pick up at Staples or somewhere like that, but it's designed specifically for mobility. So what that means is it has 3 different ways that it can connect to the internet rather than your traditional router, which only has 1. The first way that it can connect to the internet is through this third port, which you can't really see here, but it's a WAN port. It's just like the back of a Linksys router where you'd plug your cable modem into. This is very useful in certain campgrounds where there's not a lot of wireless signal. They're actually, in Florida we've seen as well, where you can rent cable modems or DSL modems from the campgrounds, and they're wired connections. So in that case, you just plug right into that, and that's called the WAN port, and you'd have wired internet access. The second way you can connect is here, which this is the other end of the antenna that we mounted on the ceiling, and this is called wireless WAN, or wireless as a WAN. Basically what that does is it scans for wireless signals, and if it picks one up that you can connect to, like a campground Wi-Fi, it then rebroadcasts that Wi-Fi inside of the coach so that you can have your own private Wi-Fi network. So this wire here, which is I think it's called an SP1 or an SPA connector. We have an adapter to the standard coax cable, which is running from the roof down into this area, which I'll show you a picture of. These are all available on our Amazon store. So that means you can rebroadcast the wireless from the campground. The third way to connect is these antennas here, which for us, I've got these set up for one as a Verizon connection, Verizon wireless, and one as an AT&T connection. There's specific PepWave models for AT&T and for Verizon. This modem's actually set up to do both, but for the purpose of this video, let's just say you're using AT&T or Verizon, and we'll give you links to both of the modems. These aren't cheap. They're about $500 for that router, but if you need to be connected and you don't want to spend a lot of time messing around with stuff, this is the absolute best way to go. Okay, so now that that's connected and ready to go, we're going to show you the management console of the PepWave, which will show you how to configure it if you're at a campground and you want to connect to their Wi-Fi.
So once you've done that site survey as we showed you, and you've pointed your antenna at the campground Wi-Fi transmitter, you can log into your router and it will show you the different campground connections that are available, and you can select them and connect. If there is paid Wi-Fi, like most campgrounds have these days that have good Wi-Fi, you're going to do exactly the same thing. You'll connect here and then when you open your browser to go to Google, it'll pop up the page which will allow you to pay for your Wi-Fi. That one payment will typically work for all of the devices in your RV, which is quite nice. You don't have to pay for multiple devices. So in this scenario, we've got the Wi-Fi WAN set as priority 1. We can move that down. Let's say we were having some problems with the Wi-Fi, and we could set it to priority 2, and then cellular would become priority 1. But we're not going to do that right now, because we're going to show you kind of how our speed's working on this setup. So right here on speedtest.net, you see right here Verizon Fios. So it's not Verizon Wireless. We are connected to the campground Wi-Fi, and they're using Verizon Fios. We'll begin this test now. And as you can see, we're getting about 3 megs, which is more than enough for Netflix and basic browsing and just about everything else. It's working nice and fast. The ping speed right here is 55 milliseconds. That's actually just as important for having a reliable internet connection, and you definitely want that to be below 100 milliseconds, which it is, which is great. So our upload's a little bit slower, but that's a Verizon Fios thing, not a configuration setup thing. And there we go. There's our test results, and for campground Wi-Fi, that's better than I've seen just about anywhere.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You can also subscribe to the blog directly on LivinLite.net, and you'll receive email updates of all of our posts.